In a small house, we find Iris, a mother deeply heartbroken because of the recent death of her young son, Mato. She has only one toy boat left as a memory of him. One night, having a hard time dealing with her feelings, she leaves her sleeping husband behind and she drives to a quiet spot where she and her son had once shared happy memories. Standing on the edge of the cliff, she is thinking of ending her life. At the last second, a stranger named Richard appears, trying to change Iris's mind by sharing his own story. In a car accident that took his girlfriend's life, Chloe. After that, he ended up in the hospital and couldn't move for 2.5 months. Iris tells Richard about her son, who was left alone to play and met a tragic end. They both connect over their pain, each feeling broken. Richard tries to show Iris that life can still have beauty, even in tough times. As they say goodbye, they both feel a little better. But as Richard walks away, he sees Iris has changed her mind. They walk to the car Richard parked next to hers, but when it's time to leave, Richard blocks her door. He gets out of his car, holding an umbrella, which he uses as a taser. When Iris wakes up, she finds herself tied up in the back of Richard's car and realizes she's been kidnapped. Richard mocks her. Despite this, Iris stays strong and determined to survive. Iris tries to use her smartwatch to call for help, but Richard reassures her that there's no emergency SOS signal, then giving her back the toy boat. She retrieves a knife hidden in her pocket and, carefully cutting herself free, she causes Richard to crash the car, and a violent struggle begins. During the fight, both are thrown from the vehicle. Richard reveals his twisted plan. He has injected her with a drug that will paralyze her completely within 20 minutes, leaving her fully conscious but unable to move. Desperate, Iris sets a timer on her smartwatch and runs into the woods, feeling the drug take effect with every step. Her limbs grow heavier, but she keeps moving, hiding and trying to evade Richard, who follows calmly, knowing she'll soon be paralyzed. At one point, she accidentally makes a noise that gives away her position, forcing her to jump into a river. Struggling to swim, she fights her way to the riverbank, where a passerby named Bill finds her. Unable to speak, Iris communicates with Bill by blinking for yes or no. Bill takes her to his home, unaware that Richard is still following her. Richard arrives soon after, pretending to be Iris's husband and spinning a story about a car accident. Bill starts to grow suspicious, especially when he notices inconsistencies in Richard's tale. Confronting Richard, Bill tries to protect Iris, but Richard quickly overpowers him, stabbing him and leaving him badly injured. Determined to finish what he started, Richard searches the house for Iris, becoming increasingly frustrated when he can't find her. In a fit of rage, he sets the house on fire, forcing Iris to come out of hiding. Paralyzed and helpless, she cannot escape and watches in horror as Richard grabs her once more and drags her to his car. As Richard drives, they are stopped by a police officer who notices Richard's expired license. Suspicious of his story, the officer questions him. Summoning the last of her strength, whispering for help, Iris tries to get the officer's attention, but Richard attacks him with a wire, killing him before getting back into his car, which is soaked in gasoline. Afterward, it's revealed that the drug injection is no longer in its original place. During the drive, Iris had moved it closer to her. Her ability to speak returns, and she talks about how Richard was tied to a bed for 2 months after his girlfriend's death, which drove him insane. He claims to have found clarity during that time and tells Iris, "Thank you." Iris attempts to appeal to his emotions, warning him that continuing his actions could cause him to lose his daughter and wife. Richard changes his plan and now intends to drown her, realizing he is running out of time. In a final desperate act, Iris stabs him with the injection, but she lacks the strength to inject it properly. Richard takes it from her and empties the syringe. Iris screams in frustration as he grabs a knife and other equipment, preparing to take her to a boat for her final destination. She then requests one final thing, to take the toy boat out of her pocket. Richard agrees, but in doing so, he loses the knife, which ends up slicing his face. He pulls out a gun, but Iris moves the boat, causing the gun to fall into the water. Richard falls in. Iris grabs the gun and shoots him, but the shot damages the boat, causing it to begin sinking. Struggling to maintain control of her body, she starts to drown. After a moment, Only the toy boat remains on the water. Iris then resurfaces and swims to safety on the shore, where she sees Richard, now washed up on the other side. She regains enough strength to move toward him, her last words being, "Thank you," the same words he had said to his girlfriend before she died. Iris leaves him there, helpless, to bleed out. 2.